Welcome to the Red Card Football Channel. Today I'll be discussing Chelsea's demolition of West Ham in the Premier League today. West Ham actually began the better team and took the lead after a giveaway by Esteban. The ball passed to Paquetá. Paquetá fired a brilliant shot past Sanchez to make it 1-0 for West Ham. But Chelsea responded very quickly. After a corner kick was flicked on by Cucurella, João Pedro made it 1-1 after a brilliant poacher's finish in the box. And then João Pedro took the ball away after a poor giveaway by Paquetá, found Pedro Neto after a terrible error by Wan-Bissaka, gets my red card, who made a lot of defensive errors, and Chelsea made it 2-1. Chelsea made it 3-1 after another defensive mistake by Wan-Bissaka, who lets Enzo Fernandez slide in the top of the box after an excellent ball by Esteban, and Enzo Fernandez slotted into the back of an empty net to make it 3-1. Chelsea were rampant and deservedly were up 3-1 at halftime. West Ham tried to make changes, had some substitutions, tried to switch the formation to a 4-3-3, but it didn't matter. Chelsea continued rampant and scored the fourth goal after a terrible giveaway. Chelsea earned a corner kick. The goalkeeper then came out of the corner terribly, punched the ball right to Caicedo. Caicedo made it 4-1. And then after that, another poor giveaway allowed a transition attack where Chelsea forced a defensive clearance. Another corner kick came in, and Chelsea made it 5-1 after another punch out by the goalkeeper, fell to Chalobah to make it 5-1. Chelsea had chance after chance to make it 6 or 7. West Ham did have a chance late from a header, which could have made it 5-2. But really, Chelsea were far better and deservedly won the game 5-1. Chelsea were excellent today. I thought Caicedo was man of the match. He was outstanding, not just his goal, but his all-around midfield performance. He dominated the midfield alongside Enzo Fernandez. They really couldn't get the ball from Caicedo or Enzo as they were outstanding. Although Cole Palmer didn't play due to an injury, Esteban was excellent as well. Him and Neto caused all sorts of problems for the West Ham backline. And João Pedro really came in well, had a goal, had an assist, and really worked hard alongside the lap to get spaces for Chelsea all over the field. Although Chelsea were a little bit shaky defensively, mostly they held their own after initial 15 minutes of the game where West Ham gave them a few scares. But Chelsea fully deserved the win and were dominant, and Maresca's men bounced back after a disappointing 0-0 draw of Palace. They played far better today and deserved the win. As for West Ham, Graham Potter's team are probably the worst team to start the Premier League right now. After a disastrous 3-0 loss to Sunderland, they were even worse today and could have conceded 6 or 7 goals. Esteban missed the one-on-one. There were other misses that Pedro Neto, if he just hit a little bit better on the counterattack, could have scored. Enzo Fernandez missed a really good chance where he could have made it potentially 6-1 as well, but his shot just went over the bar. Chelsea were far too dominant and played far too easily. West Ham were very passive, and even after taking the league, I felt there was no time that West Ham controlled the game. I thought the midfield was terrible, and Wan-Bissaka for me was horrible. He was at fault for the first, second, and third goal, letting players run off of him and get free runs. That allowed João Pedro, Enzo Fernandez, and Neto to score the goals. And the goalkeeper was very shaky as well. I thought he was at fault for at least 2 goals as well, the final 2 goals that Chelsea scored. West Ham were a disaster, and if Graham Potter keeps up this, I think he will be potentially fired. I think that West Ham have gone off to a bad start. They look like the worst team in the Premier League through 2 games, and West Ham fans should be very worried about a potential relegation battle and potentially getting relegated. Sunderland look like a lot better team, and Leeds look like better teams than the current teams that were promoted. As for Chelsea, they bounced back after a draw and look to try to contend for the Premier League and at least try to qualify for the Champions League this season. I think is the minimum target. But really, after the World Championship, Chelsea are trying to contend for the Premier League for the first time since 2017 and try to win the Premier League. And with the way that they played today, without Cole Palmer, I think it's a really good sign that Chelsea have made great strides from last year. That's all for analysis for today. I hope to see you next time.